Good Sunday afternoon, all. Welcome back to the shop. We have done some the grinder. We have the entire boat, all the dirty work. I can't say the entire boat. 95% of it is ground out. So took a good portion of the weekend. It's Sunday afternoon now. It was nasty and to be expected, but thankfully we've had some pretty cool weather, so good time to get it done. So now on to the stringers. As you can see, they're delaminated. It is not as bad as it looks. I actually cut most of the tabbing off of them because it was coming loose, and I'm gonna, get them back down straight. We do have a break there, and if I come to this other side, same thing over here. We've got a pretty major break here. So this can get pushed back into place, bonded back down, retab everything, glue everything back down, put a few extra layers of glass over the whole thing, and it'll be better than new. So I've seen worse. It's all fixable, and I think we are in pretty good shape now to start putting things back together. So right now I'm going to clean up the shop because I have hoses and fans and trash and just stuff everywhere because, like I said, I've been at this most of the weekend. So I am going to grab a beer, pick some stuff up, and sit down for a bit. And when I come back, we'll start digging into the restoration of these stringers, and I think the plan is going to be to do the outsides first, get them bonded back down, and then finish cutting the tabbing loose on the inside. As you can see, I did not cut anything loose inside of here. Well, not most of it, but the glass work that was done inside of here was subpar, to say the least. I'm not one for dogging other people's work, but a lot of it I just ripped out by hand. Saved me a lot of grinding. So I think me and Remy are gonna clean up, get back to work, and talk to y'all soon. All right, digging into these stringers this morning. Think a little test panel here where I cut the lip off. It was kind of rough anyways, and then just poured a little bit of foam down in there, right down about a cup, about not even a cup, 6 ounces or so, and then ran over it with the oscillating tool and just kind of cut it flush. I think this might be a pretty good option to extend this down to the hull bottom again, and then I'll run a nice little bead fillet across there, and then put some tabbing glass down, a couple layers there, and lock it down. So I think Maya thinks that's a good idea. Should work all right. So we go through and cut the rest of these off. You can see where I kind of wedge this in here to hold that in place. Once I go to put the foam in, I'll make sure that's down, locked, and secure. And then, like I said in the previous part, we'll add a bunch of glass over the whole thing. So this should get us started. All right, good. Got cups here, got a couple ounces of each. Going to mix them up and dump them in. depending on the temperature, you do not get a ton of working time with this, but it's cool out this morning, so get a good 30 seconds or so to mix this up without an issue. When it's hot out, this stuff kicks real fast. All right, that should do. I did pour a little bit more on there, mainly in this big gap here to fill that up. So I'm gonna let this finish curing off, and then I can come back in with the oscillating tool, cut off the excess, and the sander to smooth it all out. All right, that left us in pretty good shape. Got that sanded down, got a nice little profile here, filled in the gap nice and smooth. Now I can go in tomorrow. It's about dark now, it's cooling off quite a bit, so I don't want to put any putty on it now because it won't kick. So wait till tomorrow. It's supposed to be back in the 70s again. And I'll put a nice little fillet of putty down the outside of both. Then I got me a roll of tabbing glass up there. I need to pick up a little more resin, but plan is to do one layer down the center, one offset on the top, one offset on the bottom, and then see how it's feeling after that. And then turn around and go to the inside. All right, first smear of the putty for the fillet is down there in the corners. Got this one done, and I did this side off camera a little bit earlier. So got to let this kick off, probably give it an hour or so, and then come out and touch it up with sander. It obviously needs, you know, some sanding. If I had the time right now, I would go straight to the glassing while it's still wet and start roll the tabbing over there and do it wet on wet. But life, got a couple other things to take care of right now. So let this kick off. I'll come back at it with the file sander and the DA and get the big humps and bumps brushed off and get a nice little radius formed. And then lay a few more layers of glass and then feel a little more confident walking around in here. Okay, got everything sanded out smooth. Nice little radius along these stringers here. So next step is going to be to roll out about 16 feet of tabbing glass and get ready to go. One more quick thing before we actually lay some glass. Wanted to mention, get the boat straight before you tab these stringers back down, because if you have a twist or a hook in the hull, you don't want to glass it in there. So it's on a 3-point right now. This is actually just, it's loose. That's just in case that foam block fails for whatever reason. And these stands here are pretty much loose. They're just, when I'm walking around, the boat's not wobbling too much. But these two blocks on the back, sitting on some pilings here, these have been leveled to within about a 1/16 of an inch. I sat there with a tape measure the other day, had the gantry on the back hook, and I was shimming them. Got a 2x4 with a towel on there to keep it from scratching the new gel coat. So anyways, yeah, just make sure you're good and straight before you lock these stringers back down, because the last thing you want to do is do all this work and you get a big old twist in the boat. All right, ready to lay out the first piece of glass. So quarter resin ready to go. Got the glass cut to size, laid out on the stringer. Fin rollers, brushes, extra gloves, all that fun stuff. So, set it up, lay it out. Just show you what I'm getting in here with this bubble roller. It's not really a lot of bubbles because that grinder got it all pretty smooth, but you get some extra resin down in there and you can work that up and out from underneath. And same thing right out the top. It's kind of hard to hold this one hand, but hopefully you get the point. Just kind of squeezing out the extra globs of resin from underneath there. All right, and that's that. First tab is down. I'll go ahead and hit the other side real quick with the first layer, and then I'll come back and add one more taper to the outside and one more taper to the inside, overlapping. But I want to be able to get one on each side at least so that I can walk around on it a little more confidently. All right, 6 layers down, 3 on this side, 3 on that side. About 65 degrees this evening, so I kicked that resin about 1.5%. Was able to actually get all of it done in probably 30 minutes with one roller. So it's looking pretty good. You can see on the white behind it, that's the putty, so not bubbles, don't freak out. That's the putties I was wiping on there before. But yeah, looking good, laid out nice. This tabbing glass, picked this up the other day at Marine Trading Post down in Port Charlotte. 20 bucks, they got a stack of them. So if it's not too late by the time I post this, anybody needs any, good price. And a lot easier than cutting rolls 1708 in the strips. So anyways, yeah, good on the outside now. Of course, I still got to do the front, but my main concern was to get these secured enough that I can walk around on them without causing any issues. So think we are good at that aspect. So I'm going to wrap it up for the night and come back out if I get any time tomorrow. We'll cut off the inside tabs and start grinding that and start working on that. One more thing. Couple tips, disclaimers, disclosures, whatever you want to call them. Wear a mask. I had the big drum fan going and the little fan up at the front blowing straight down these cavities. Normally I have my respirator on, but we got a northeast breeze right now. So a lot of airflow in the shop here with the back door open and the front door open. But all right, we are back and on to the inside of the stringers. Gonna do this main compartment. Already started cutting these fuel tank supports out. We're pretty grody underneath of there. Never know what you're gonna find, but yeah, totally. A little bit of wood coring they had in there, totally rotted out. So leave that there for now. And then these two bigger ones in the front. This is, let's see if I can get out of the sun here. This is what was left of the glass work that was underneath of the fuel tank. I think this is drywall mesh. I don't know. Anyways, it's all coming out. And then these two are next. All right, those 4 supports are out. So next step, clean out the foam, get the grinder, turn the fan off, clean that out, get it ready, cleaned up for fresh glass. All right, it's the last little piece of patchwork that was done holding the old fuel tank in. A lot better than grinding, I guess. All right, quick little lunchtime grind session. Got all of those supports out, and this is all cleaned out. I had to remove a lot of broken glass, so it's gonna be some serious tabbing going back on these stringers, and then some serious glass going back down on the floor. All right. Inside is ready to lay up. It's all ground out, cleaned up. Went ahead off camera. I puttied the inside seams similar to how I did the outside. But I actually used, instead of pouring some foam in there, I puttied in a couple strips of the Venicel in a couple spots where we had some bigger gaps. Works pretty well. I'm going to go over with one more little layer of putty, and then I cut some glass to fit into some of the bigger divots that I had to cut out. So I'm going to put that glass down, tab the seams in, get it all secure, and then I'm going to run a layer of structural putty over the entire top, over the whole thing, before I put some full sheets of glass over the whole thing. But I'll do that tomorrow probably. So here we go. done. They are bonded down well. I actually had enough resin left over that I just ran another strip right up the center, so that can't hurt. So anyways, let's flip this fan off real quick. Yeah, don't recommend doing that unless it's cool out and you know you've done it before, because this can get away from you real quick and you can be left with quite a mess. But got it all down in about 30 minutes, maybe a little more. Was still able to work it around at the end there, so on to the next. Alrighty, we got the putty down in the center here. Let that finish its deal, and then I'll smooth that out and started refoaming the stringers. One good thing about these stringers being so badly delaminated is that foam was bone dry. Turn it off. Still a lot of gaps in it though, from the factory. Probably contributed to the delamination. I went in there with a big pry bar and dug around, opened up a couple nice spaces. So filling all these holes back up, pouring it in, letting it just seep into wherever it needs to go. I'm only doing about 8 ounces at a time. I'm being very cautious with it because I don't know how big some of these holes are. Pour it in, let it, you know, when it's really liquid, let it really filter down in there and permeate down where it needs to go. Fill up, go to the next hole. If you've ever done this foam, you know it can get away from you pretty quick if you're not careful. One thing I found is let's get some little solo cups, 1 and 1, fill them up about halfway each. Make sure they're the same, pour them in the 1 cup, mix them up and pour. So a couple spots like right here. I mean, this is like completely void in there. I've probably poured 3 cups in there over the last 10 minutes or so. And then you can see where the fuel tank access was. I just used some cardboard. Gonna build that back up, and then once that's fully cured, I'll scrape the cardboard off, cut it all flat, sand it and glass over it, and I'll end up digging a new fuel hose access out when it's time. So anyways, coming along, stringers are doing well. So I'm not gonna do the very backs of them because these are getting cut off in the next week or so when I start work on the transom. All right, last layer of glass ready to go down in the center. Cut a few little pieces. There's a little crack I sealed up there, so it'll have 4 pieces over it. And got 9 feet of glass here cut up, ready to go. So I'm gonna set up, put it down. that was not my best torque, but it's down. Probably see why most of the time I'm glassing, especially with 1708, I flip it over and I do the backside first, because it just doesn't always want to soak up everything all the way through, and then you end up with what I had to do towards the end of that video, where I actually pulled it off just to wet the back out. So I don't know, I got some bubbles in here I'm gonna have to address, but I just, you know, there's some, I've worked it until it was kicking, and you know, probably should have cut it in half, did, you know, 4.5 feet and 4.5 feet, but hey, you know, it's on. So let it dry overnight, and then we'll come back tomorrow and finish these stringers up. I think overall they're a hell of a lot more solid than they were. They look kind of terrible now because they're covered in different colors and half wet and half dry, and you know, foam sticking out of them and whatever. We'll get them cleaned up, put a little bit more glass on them, throw some gel coat on it to cure it all, and move on to the transom. All right, well, I just realized that my phone has been sitting on the tripod, not recording anything, but went through this morning and ground out all the bubbles. There's one that, you know, I missed, that I just went back in and actually recorded this time. So getting all these filled and getting it right before we seal it up. All right, y'all, I think that's going to wrap up the work on the stringers here. Got some gel coat on there to cure it all up, and even leave a nice little finish for the fuel tank to sit in. You know, a little more work to do, cap them off, whatever, but I know this is probably running long, so yeah, gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. I think that we have saved the stringer grid. You know, from what it looked like when we first opened this all up to what we got now, that's where that crack was. I put 3 more layers of glass over top of that last night off camera. Anyways, yeah, from what we started at to where we ended, I think a few days worth of work saved a lot of effort ripping them out and rebuilding from scratch. So like I said at the beginning, these Aquasport stringer grids or something, you know, they're very stout, and you know, they got to be in really, really bad shape to totally rip them out. So anyways, I think we're good. Gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks for watching, and next is the transom. So subscribe, like, share, do all those YouTube things, and we'll be back on it soon. All right, guys.